Hi, welcome to 30-Minute Woodshop. This is Bill. Thanks for joining me today. Today we're making coasters. We're going to be using this stock half-inch piece of material. This happens to be poplar. It's 3.5 inches wide and 48 inches long, and it is half-inch thick. The half-inch thick is about as much as you want for a coaster. Anything more, it gets a little clunky looking. Really what we'd like to have is 3/8, but we'll stick with this. If I were to go to 3/8, what I would do is I'd run it through my thickness planer and bring it down to that 3/8 level. And to be frank, 3/8 actually is the dimension you want. So if you can get 3/8 material, do that. Half-inch works okay. The extra 1/8 inch isn't that bad. So we'll be doing a couple things here. We'll make a few of them that are just pieces of wood. So we'll cut them at 3.5 by 3.5. Okay, so 3.5 by 3.5. Then we'll treat the edges and sand them down, and call them good. So quick, easy project. Same kind of thing. You can make this for gifts for the family. Sell it on Etsy. You can do pretty well with it. Let's get busy. On my Ready Alarm saw, I set a stop block at 3.5 inches. That gives me an easy way to make repeatable cuts. All right, we're going to make a bunch of noise right now. So, there we go, all exactly the same height. So a great way to cut these things, make very similar or all same size units. Next thing we're going to do is take these over to the router table. Okay, you can kind of see, I actually took that edge down, it's pretty thin looking. Next step of this quickie project, especially if you're not doing the epoxy, is sanding. Basically we're going to hit these a few times, starting with pre-machined wood that's already flat, great surface, doesn't really take a heck of a lot. Make sure you sand with the grain. I'm using 220 on a sanding block. You don't have to sand the heck out of it. The big thing is wrapping this sandpaper around a dowel and sanding out these coves for this particular one. And you see how quick that is. It doesn't take a lot to sand these. All I'm doing now is breaking the edges. Just give them a little bit of round over so they're not quite so sharp and pointy. Now, done. So, see how quick that was? Do 3 more, and then I'll be moving on to branding them and then finishing them. All sanded up. I decided instead of burning in my name, I just sign them. I thought that might be a little bit better, kind of cool. Normally I sign a lot of the things that I create. Usually on the back, not on the front, but that's why I thought I'd do the front this time. So we're going to put on some Varathane, which is a polyurethane finish. The reason we're going to put polyurethane finish on it is because this helps prevent the absorption of water and protects the wood. And we're just going to wipe on a coat of it. We're also going to wipe on a coat of Golden Pecan Minwax stain. mostly because I want them a little darker than they are. And keep in mind, this is strictly however you want it. If you don't want to put stain on it, or you want to go darker, that's perfectly fine. Give it a quick hit, make sure you get everywhere. No white spots. All the edges. Do the back. Now you notice I sanded this pretty well. The end grain is almost identical to the edge grain, sucking up the stain. See that? You really can't tell the difference. And if I got one more grit down, I was using 220, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So we put the stain on, wipe the stain off, and we're good to go. Now all we're going to do is wipe on some varnish. As I said, this polyurethane. This happens to be a satin finish, but you can use that, of course, any finish you care to. We'll be doing the exact same thing. Wipe the finish on, make sure you get it everywhere. Top, back, front, sides. Make sure you get the edges. We're trying to seal it to keep the water out. And this is just going to be a wipe on, so once I get done wiping it on, I'm going to wipe it back off again. Hey folks, thanks for sticking to the whole thing. I really appreciate it. If you got something out of this video, please hit like and subscribe. There's a few links to the bottom that you may find interesting also. As I mentioned, these are great projects for kids, especially once you get them all cut up. These things are great for kids to do some artwork on the surface. Then you can seal it off with some varnish. If your kids are in Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts, they make a great craft project for Cub Scouts and Girl Scouts. Talk to the leaders. You can provide them with, half dozen or a dozen of these things, and the kids can do their little thing on it, hit it with some spray varnish, and the parents love getting these things. If your kid's in daycare, talk to the daycare provider, because they may order 20, 30, even 40 of these things for $1, $1.50 a piece, and they make great craft projects, again, for daycare. And parents always love getting something from their daycare kids. So give a talk to, see what happens. You can make some money at this. All that being said, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. Please hit like and subscribe. And until next time, folks, good making.